What's going on, everybody? Chris Naugle back with the Money School podcast. Thanks for joining us. You know, today my guest is one you're not expecting, and my guest is a brilliant mind when it comes to marketing and scaling a firm. And let me just test to see how much you know about this. Hurt in a car, call my guest, William Mattar. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me. This is going to be a lot of fun.
This is going to be a ton of fun. Now, you know, you've done some things that are very unique in your industry. I mean, you're an attorney, but you focus on just one aspect of the practice, and that is car accidents. What drove you to that? Like, you know, most attorneys are a jack of everything. They say they can help you with just about any law. So, like, is that where you started, and how did it get down to being so focused?
Okay, so I started off back in 1990. I started off with a full-service law firm, which means we basically did everything. We did, matrimonial work, wills, trust work, real estate, criminal, some personal injury work. And after a very short period of time, I realized that to be really the best at something, we had to be able to narrow what we worked on, because you couldn't be as productive and couldn't know all the rules in a very broad area of law. So then what we did is we reduced the areas of law that we had down from 20 down to 2, and we worked on some criminal work and we worked on personal injury work. And then after a very short period of time after that, I'm like, okay, well, there's competition out there, and I'm competing in the personal injury field with these defense lawyers that they really are only doing defense for motor vehicle accidents. And so that's what I'm dealing with all the time. And my thought process was, in order to be the best and be able to compete with them at a very high level and be successful, I needed to narrow my focus down to motor vehicle accidents. And so what we did is we went, in a very short period of time, went from a broad law firm that did many areas of law down to one specific area. And that has been very successful for us.
Yeah, they always say the riches are in the niches, I think is how they say it. But, you know, another thing that comes to my mind is doctors. You know, I live in a neighborhood with lots of docs, and I was surprised. You know, when I grew up, I always, in school, you know, the parents of some of the kids I went to school with, they were doctors, and you're always like, oh my God, they're so wealthy, they're so rich. But then when I started learning more about that field, you know, a general physician, you know, they do well, but when you compare a general physician to a specialist, like a heart surgeon, it's a drastic difference. And the other unique thing is, you know, you would think that a general physician would need to know more or need to spend more time in school to do that, but really the surgeon does. And the one thing about it is, I'm sure you would agree, and everybody watching this would agree, if you had problems with your heart, would you go see your general physician and say, hey, doc, you know, I know you helped me with the common cold, you know, that ear infection, but I need you to operate on my heart. How many times have you done that? And the doc says, well, you know, I did maybe a couple times, and I remember learning about that. I'm willing to give it a shot. How comfortable would you be with that?
Yeah, I think most people would be not comfortable with that at all. And that's really an interesting analogy, because I've used a similar analogy with, okay, if you were in a, if you needed like hand surgery, would you go to your podiatrist? Right? And I like podiatrists. I actually have a podiatrist. But I wouldn't go to a podiatrist if I needed a specialist doing hand surgery. It's the same kind of thing.
Exactly.
And in order to be able to have that expertise, we handle so many motor vehicle accidents that we have come across almost every type of issue that could arise. And we have a great team that would allow us, if some unique issue comes up, we have one of the best appellate lawyers in the state on our staff that really can research and write briefs and does a great job. And so we have all the expertise. We have the trial lawyers. We have the great team that really is focused in on maximizing recoveries for our clients. And you'd need that, I think, to be able to be focused really helps you. Now, there can be, and there are some good general injury lawyers, right, that might, a lot of these general injury lawyers might handle, 15, 20 different types of injury cases. And we've decided to just focus in on one area and to try to be the absolute best that we can in that one area.
Well, That's clearly working for you. But another thing I want to talk about with that is, how tempting was it when you first decided to focus? How tempting was it when the phone would ring and someone would call you about something that isn't part of that focused practice, but you know you can do it still? Did you ever take the bait?
No, I've been very lucky that I actually, when I was making this decision to go very focused and have a very narrow focus, I read a book by Al Reese entitled Focus. And I've read that book multiple times, and it shows all the problems when being a generalist, all those problems. And the other thing it shows you is if you're trying to own a word in the minds of the public, and so they know, hurting a car, call William Mattar. They know that, and if people are hurting a car, they're going to call me. And if I try to go and say, well, I'm William Mattar, hurting a car, call William Mattar. Oh, by the way, I'm going to do your will. That just doesn't work. And all the time, I would say, at least once a month, someone comes to me and says, "Why don't you do this? Why don't you do slip and fall cases? There's slip and fall cases out there. You could do those cases." I'm like, well, we're not going to market for that. That's not our brand. Our brand and who we are is motor vehicle accident cases. And so we're not going to broaden our brand. And our brand is focused, and it allows us to be very good at what we do.
Now, I want to dive deep into the marketing, because you're just a brilliant marketer, and you have a brilliant team behind you with that. And it's so outside the box for your industry. But before we do that, I want to transition, and I want to just talk about, who is William Mattar? Like, where did you come from? Now, we talked a little bit offline, and you were telling me just about your upbringing and some of the things you did. So could you just tell the audience just a little bit about, before you were an attorney, what was life like? Because you did a lot of things.
I grew up in a large family. I have 3 brothers, 3 sisters, and I had the most wonderful mom. And my father's still alive. My mom has passed. And my mother did a fantastic job having that family and really managing the household. And my father did a wonderful job in his career. He's a lawyer also. And so, but I grew up in this household, and we grew up in North Buffalo. And I played Little League, and I played different sports, and I was kind of active. I basically, every year in my life, from the time I was an infant till I was 18, I either had a major surgery, a broken bone, or stitches. So I really did a lot of things. I fell off a horse and broke my arm, played hockey, broke my leg, played as a soccer goalie, broke my finger, and then I had multiple other stitches, and I got hit in the face with a hockey puck and got stitches in my face.
Glutton for punishment.
Yeah, so I basically got all the injuries for the entire family, I think. And so that was my job, I think. But I have the best siblings, and we get along very well. And I went away to college. I went to SUNY Plattsburgh, and I made the decision, leaving high school, going into college. I knew I wanted to be a lawyer. And so I wanted to give myself experiences that would help, I could build off of. And so I wanted to get good grades, which I worked very hard to do that. And then I also got involved in the school. I became on the dorm council. I then became a senator for the student association, then became the student association president. And then after that, I had some great opportunities. The first, Governor Cuomo appointed me to be on the college council for SUNY Plattsburgh, which gave me other opportunities, and I became the vice president of an organization, a multi-million-dollar organization that ran the food services in the stores and did other things. And so it gave me opportunities to learn. It gave me opportunities to be in the press. I would be able to I did interviews. I worked on for a college kid a pretty large budgets. I learned how to run businesses and how to have some leadership. And so that's kind of how that started. And then I went to law school and did quite well in law school. Worked for a firm for about a year, and then I started my own law practice back in 1990.
I think one unique thing about your upbringing is all those injuries you were just going through, like you can literally really get in the minds of your clients. You know, maybe they break a leg in a car accident. You're like, I know what that feels like. Or one of the other injuries. So that's a neat little thing. I didn't know that. You mentioned that earlier. But let's dive into like scaling a firm. You know, I'm fascinated with businesses, especially, you know, law firms, because a law firm can be scaled, but it can be difficult because there's really just a lot of different processes and procedures. So at what point, was it right when you started doing it that you decided you wanted to scale and really go for volume, or was it just a natural progression?
It progressed. I mean, when I was first started off, I was at that broad general law firm that did a lot of things, and it's very hard to scale with that. When you're trying to do, you know, a will in the morning and go to a real estate deal in the afternoon and then go to night court at night, it's hard to scale. But I was able to learn within a short period of time how I brought on people to help do the night court work and do different aspects of my firm, and I did that. But as soon as I started focusing on one area where you could actually really learn the processes and figure out how to way to make things more efficient and better for the clients, that's really when that scaling started. And so we started. I mean, we were probably one of the first law firms, for example, in Western New York that went paperless. I mean, and you think that's, well, we were just way ahead of our time, and that just gives you efficiencies that other law firms didn't have. And I actually had an employee. They're basically their entire job before we went paperless. Their entire job was to go find the file. When I had a phone call from a client, they had to go find the file, bring me the file so I could have the file and document the paper file. And then if an adjuster called, they'd have to go get the file because someone's working on the file. They had to always find the file and bring it back. That simple thing really just changed the dynamics. And then you just learned other ways to become more efficient. So you take the very beginning part of a case when you're communicating with the client, when they're calling in and they're afraid and they don't really understand the process. And we just come up with a system that we say the same things, and we're able to listen and document and really understand what's going on with the client. But that whole conversation is scripted in a sense. I mean, we know exactly what we're going to ask. We know how we're going to respond, and now you do that throughout the entire length of the case, and it really allows to provide great customer service to our clients, and then it also gives us the ability to have the time that we need to be able to focus on the case and maximize the recovery.
Now, every business owner goes through that period of time where their business gets too big for them, but a lot of them stunt the growth of their business because they stay working in the business. And now, especially in your practice, same with mine, it was hard for me doing the infinite banking concept. Everybody wanted to talk to me. They saw me on social media. They called. They hoped to talk to me. And I was like, yeah, I'll take your call. And I did that. But there was a point where I just couldn't do it anymore. And I started easing back and training other people how to duplicate what I was doing. And then there was literally that point where literally I just had to completely disconnect from that. Did you struggle from that hard time where a business owner has to go from working in the business to working on the business?
Well, I think every business will have those struggles, and you have struggles at different points. You have struggles when you're really small, that causes risk and problems, and then you get yourself to when we were at 15 people. I think that's one of the riskiest parts of time for most businesses, because a lot of things can go wrong. You can have your fingers on the pulse, but a lot of things can go wrong. And I think once you have 15 people, that really gives you the opportunity to really start focusing on systems and being able to protect your business and you protect your firm and have it grow. And you need those systems in place. And the only way you can do that is by taking certain parts of your job and delegating off certain aspects of what you do. And we have a person with us, Shirley, who's been with us for, I think, over 33 years right now. And Shirley started off as a part-time legal secretary with us, and then grew to be a manager and helped me grow this firm. And then over time, I mean, right now, I think we have, from what her job was, we've delegated, I think we have 5 or 6 people that do parts of what her job used to be.
Wow.
And it's just a matter of, as you grow, you need more people to be able to manage different aspects of the business. And so it's important to be able to do that. And I think once you hit 50 people, that's really when things really start to change a lot. And then you hit 100 and things change again. And as you grow, I mean, it probably gets we're not in the 500 or something, but I think once you get to 500, I think it's a completely different way to run a business. That we're not even close to that, and so that would be a whole different issue, I think. But I think you have to figure out a way to have good managers and be able to delegate and be able to help your team grow and give them the ability to make decisions. And the bigger you get, you have to do that.
Yeah. If any of you are listening to this, running a business, building a firm, pay attention to what we just went through. And now you're going to really want to pay attention, because now we're going to talk marketing. What you have done with marketing is, in my opinion, just brilliant. You have taken such a serious industry. I mean, hurting a car, right? Like lawsuits and things like that, like so serious, suit and tie. And you've done this marketing campaign where you've taken a serious thing, but you've made it fun. And most people would never find their way to that. So let's talk marketing. Most attorneys will have the big billboards, they'll have the ads in the newspaper, you'll hear them on the radio, and it's just like, oh my God, you're just changing this channel. But yours are totally different. People literally recite your commercials and what you say. How did you do this, and where did the marketing ideas come from to go outside of the box of the traditional attorney into this, I don't know what you even call it, just this different form of marketing, what you do?
Well, I'll just kind of go back to the beginning a little bit. And we started off back in the day, our big marketing was telephone books, right? And we were the largest telephone book advertiser, one of the largest probably in the state with regards to marketing for lawyers. And we did that, and then we got ourselves into doing some television, and our first television ads were really pretty bad and not very exciting, just the most boring things in the world. And we started, but we learned, right? And so what happened was we went from going to say, okay, we're just going to get there and just have this boring ad. And I went, and for a long time we had, even though there's a typical, lawyer ad, we were in either a courtroom or with some books, but we had a high production quality with these booms and a lot of movement, and we were different than most law firms for a long time, and we were ahead of the curve. And then what started happening, everyone copies us, and so people would start to copy us, and they would start basically almost having the exact same words that we were saying and this exact same look. And so we basically had to come up with a concept of how can we personalize it more to me so people couldn't copy us as much. And people still will try, but it's a little harder because we have these commercials that are in a lot of ways unique to me. They're self-deprecating at times. They're funny. They're unique, but they're my quirks or my quirkiness, and we kind of try to show that and push that out there. And so they're different. And so we made that decision several years ago to be able to really kind of move completely away from a typical lawyer ad to something that's really high quality, high entertainment value, interesting, and something that people will like to watch. And we did that. So that was the TV. And then we're going, well, TV's still important. We like having our TV ads. We have our Super Bowl ads. We have some great spots. But as everyone knows, people are watching podcasts. People are on social media, and some of their time is being pulled away from television in prime time, regular television. They might be on their apps, and they might be doing other things. So then what we did is we made the decision to really figure out social media. Now, are we perfect on social media? No, but we have a great social media team it can figure so much stuff out, and they really understand what's going on with social media. And so now we're doing these social media trends, and we do informational ones, but we also do these transitions that are fun. And my team, I think they love making me do crazy stuff. They throw water at me, they make me dance, and they make me look silly at times. But it's a lot of fun, and I'm happy to do it. And we have a good time doing what we're doing with regards to the social media.
So in this transition of where you've gone through these different evolutions of marketing, when did it really click? Like, when did you was it a natural, slow progression, or was it just like you nailed something and all of a sudden the phones were just lighting up?
So no, it wasn't a thing. We tried many things, and so we did one of the things that when I transitioned from this broad law firm, full service law firm, as I call it, down into motor vehicle accidents, we tried different things. And so the first thing when we went to that focus, we went to our brand was auto injury, called William Mattar. And I had thought about hurting a car, called William Mattar. I thought it was too jingly. And so I said, okay, we're going to we did auto injury, William Mattar, and it was yellow and black. And then we had our phone number. And we first started off with a phone number. I think we had used 1-800-INJURED for about a year. Then we did 1-800-7-MATTAR. It's hard for people to spell and type on a phone, and that really wasn't that good. What clicked is I made a decision. We were in phone books. We were the biggest advertiser in phone books, and I collected all this data about every phone book ad that I had across the state, and we could see that people weren't calling phone books as much, and the cost for a new case was crazy in certain types of phone book ads. And so I made a decision in 1 year. I made a transition from auto injury William Mattar to hurt in a car called William Mattar. I had just acquired the phone number 444-4444, and I decided to do something very risky. I took all my ads out of the phone book, which was a huge dollar amount, and I took all that money and I put it into primetime TV to build a brand. And so that's the big switch right there. And I made a decision that brand building was more important, and that having a good brand, and then we had this, sticky brand. Hurt in a car, called William Mattar was sticky, and it worked. And the phone number was a great decision to go down that path, which was a little scary to change the phone number again, but we did that.
So it was a nice slow go. You had to try a lot of things. You had to fail at a lot of things to kind of find this path. And yeah, I mean, the jingle just works. It's just like, when James came to me and said, hey, William Mattar's going to come on, I literally recited the jingle to him. And I'm like, holy cow, how did I know that? But it just gets so deep in your mind that you can't let it go. But also, like we were talking out there, like if I were to ever get in a car accident, hopefully I never do. So hopefully I never need your services, sorry. But if I did get in a car accident, literally, I'd probably be clawing my way through the airbags. Where's the phone? And I'd be dialing your number just because it's like memorized. And I think that's a huge thing that a lot of people miss, is just the simplicity of your messaging. I mean, There's nothing complicated about it, and it's kind of one of those events that happens that nobody wants to happen, but when it does, you're panicked and everything else, and then you're like, oh, I remember the number to call. So it's a reaction. So the next phase that I want to go into is, so the marketing goes to a phone number, and then that goes into your company, and you've got a team, I would assume, that takes them. How many of those folks that call are just never going to go through the system? Like, do you know the percentages?
Yeah, I have those, and I can. I'm happy to talk about that. And but just getting back to that phone number for a second, that really changed the world in a lot of ways. That sticky, the hurt in the car, and call William Mattar, and then that phone number, because people can remember that phone number. And as you're saying, actually, people do call us right after the car accident, while they're in the car, while they're waiting for the ambulance, or on the way to the hospital, or just they're waiting to get medical treatment. And so that does happen on a regular basis because the phone number is so sticky. And so
I bet you they call you before they call their husband or wife.
I don't know about that. I don't know if I'm going to say that either.
Then you know you've made it, Will.
Yeah.
William,
I'm not
when they
sure.
call you before they call their spouse, now we're winning.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that, but probably that could happen. I would say a lot of times people will call their spouse or a loved one that they need some help with, to get some help, to get someone.
But it sounded better the other way.
Yeah, it does. It does sound good. That's probably a good idea, because you could always call your spouse right afterwards. We can get things going for you.
I'll call your social media team and I'll let them know. Let's get the marketing going that way. Don't call your spouse first. Call William Mattar.
Yeah, well, we can test that. We can do some A/B testing on that one, and we'll see what happens. So, what was your question again? That you
I don't remember. I was just thinking, should I call William Mattar or should I call Larissa? I'm
okay.
just deciding which one.
I think you're talking about once we get the call starts coming into the office,
yeah. So all these. Your marketing works, so the calls come in, and then how sticky is it?
Yeah, so it's very sticky. And so one of the things is that we want people to call. We don't want people to self-decide if they have a case or not, because it's very hard. In New York State, there's a serious injury threshold that you have to meet, and after a car accident, you don't really know if you're going to meet that threshold. And many people have back and neck injuries, and if they call us and they're hurt and the accident's not their fault, and they have gone to get treatment, they're on their way right now to get treatment, or they're calling us and they're planning on going to have treatment because their back and neck is hurting them, or if it's more severe, obviously if they have someone that have broken bones or they're in the hospital, I mean, we're going to take those cases. But on the cases that are questionable, we basically accept 33% of the cases the calls that come in for a motor vehicle accident. And so what we're able to do, which is a little unique, I think, for us, that we're trying to help as many people as we possibly can, is that they're coming in and it's not clear that they really have a case. We will start that process. We'll spend our time and money not knowing if we're going to be able to get them a recovery right away, and we'll protect their no-fault benefits and make sure they have that filed. We'll start the investigation if it's needed, and we'll take different steps to protect their case, and then we see how their treatment progresses. Now, that's a percentage of the calls that come in that we'll try to help them, even though we don't know that we're going to be able to get them a recovery. And it's okay, because our firm doesn't take an attorney's fees until we win their case for them. So we're not taking anyone, we're not charging anybody unless we get them a recovery. And so we're able to do that. And then there's a percentage of cases that we know that, okay, you have a qualifying injury, that we're going to be able to definitely help you, and we're going to work that case up. And then there's another set of cases that are the catastrophic injury cases where people are just demolished. I mean, they've been hit by a big truck, or they've just been really in a severe accident with many broken bones, fractured backs, fractured skulls, all those serious and awful cases. And so, and there's those cases. And so we try to treat those cases all slightly differently in a way that we can help maximize those recoveries. And so that's kind of how that system kind of works. And I think that's, a little interesting. Now, one of the things that I want to just talk to you about is one of the things that really helped me kind of transition into doing motor vehicle accidents is when I was a young lawyer, right? And I have this full service law firm, and I want to be able to help people. And I was doing at that point personal injury work and criminal. I'd already brought it down to 2 areas of law, and then I was on vacation with my family, and I came up to I was one of the first cars on site of a single car rollover crash with multiple fatalities. And so that was very difficult. I had pulled the car up so my kids couldn't see. And then I went back and I'm trying to save this baby that got ejected from the car. And so one of the things I learned from just being there is, one, that obviously that's awful, but the only person I believe survived that crash was the person that was inside the car. Then there's multiple people thrown outside of the car. And so that just got me, if you're wearing your seatbelt, you have a much higher chance of survival. And seatbelts will also help you with not being as injured. And so I'm always encouraging people to wear your seatbelt, because if you get a rollover, you're not wearing your seatbelt, and you get ejected from the car, odds are you're going to be dead.
And it's funny to think in today's times that people wouldn't wear their seatbelts. It's just almost ingrained into us from when we're young straight through. But you do still see that?
I still see people not wearing their seatbelts.
It's just I just don't understand it. I really don't. But let's get back into the marketing aspect.
Yep.
So how a lot of folks that are watching this that want to scale their business, like they start with marketing, right? They'll start doing it. They'll go hard for 30 days with it, and then they're like, it's not working. I'm not getting the calls I thought it was, and then they stop marketing. What advice would you have for people, attorneys or anybody starting out that's starting in marketing? Because you and I both know it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. What would you say to them?
Well, it's the long game, and there's 2 types of marketing you have to think through, and one is more of a direct response marketing, that you're trying to have your ads generate immediate calls, and that's important, and you need that. But at the same time, you need to have branding, and the branding in the long run is going to win, right? And everyone knows this. If you go down in a grocery aisle and you're looking for something, nowadays there's some really good store brands. People can buy some store brands, but in general, they're looking for the brand that they want for their ketchup, or their brand that they want for their butter, right? And so people are going to gravitate to those brands, because if they know the brand, that gives them a level of trust. If that brand's been able to be around for a little bit of time, they know that they have something behind them. And so I would just tell someone that's starting out, figure out what's going to get you some immediate cases that you want, or bring whatever business in that you need, and work on that, and really focus on what the cost per acquisition is, and understand your numbers with regards to, is that profitable, and then work the long game. Now, with our firm, I was very aggressive. I was in a situation where the cost per new case coming into a firm, most people have this general understanding it should be at a certain level. In my when I started going heavy with branding, my cost per case at that point in time was 2.5 times.
Wow.
And it was at a number that is kind of crazy, but I was taking the risk to be able to bring the firm and build brand, which nobody, when I was doing that, basically across the country, very few lawyers had even thought about building brand. And so when you're new and doing something new, it can be more expensive. But if you can get ahead of everybody else, then you have an advantage. And so we spend, and you spend a lot of time with regards to social media marketing, and that is expensive in the sense that it takes a lot of time and effort to produce what you're producing. And then at the same time, if you're trying to push it out under certain circumstances with paid marketing, that's more expensive per eyeball than other forms of marketing. But in the long run, you're going to win by being able to dominate in your niche, in social media.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think a lot of people realize how expensive it really is to produce it. I mean, I always tell people numbers. I mean, our YouTube video production, just the production, no ad spend, is $24,000 a month. And that's just producing one video every day, 5 days a week. I mean, and I didn't start there, but you slowly build up and you just keep pushing more into it. And like you said, it's the long game. But the long game's the one that wins. The branding game's the one that wins. If you're always doing direct response, it's just, I just feel like, number one, you'll burn out. You'll burn the audience out, and they'll just stop tuning in because it's just nothing fun about it. But that's the cool thing about you. Your ads and your social media is fun.
Right.
And you're not in an industry that's generally fun at all. I mean, what's fun about wrecking your car and having an injury? Nothing. Right. But your marketing just makes the whole thing not fun, but you just do a phenomenal job with that. And I just give you so much credit for it. Everybody listening to this, we're doing this in a live studio with a live audience. So at the end, we're going to get into questions. So if you were thinking about, after William said ketchup, you were thinking about going and getting ketchup, sit your butt down, because we're going to get to questions in a little bit. But I want to talk about a couple more things. I want to talk about what really drives you. I know you give a lot. So, it's one thing to have success in business and scale your business and do great marketing stuff. And all of that results in making more money. But life is so boring as you make more if you don't have a purpose. Can we just get a little bit into your purpose? Because I know you're really into this.
Yeah, so our firm is about helping people. And we want to be able to help the community, we want to be able to help our clients, and we want to be able to help our team members. And that all that's ingrained in me from my parents. I mean, our family has been helping other families and helping the community since I was a little kid. And I grew up with that. And so that's kind of ingrained in me, and I've worked very hard to ingrain those same kind of concepts into our firm so that everyone in our firm understands that we're really about helping people. And that's the primary thing that we're trying to do. And so what that allows us to do is it allows us to have team members and myself that really want to be able to help the community. And so we have community campaigns every month. We're helping and doing some major campaigns, and then we have minor campaigns where we're out helping. We'll have our team out, cleaning up gardens. We'll be helping with building some habitat houses. We'll be helping with breast cancer awareness, and we're doing a ton with that this month. And then we're doing another month. We really help with adopt a shelter animal, because that's something that's really dear to me. We used to have our dog Peanut Butter. Some of the people might remember our dog Peanut Butter. And she was in a lot of our commercials, and she always helped promote Adopt a Shelter Animal Month for us. And so that's always important. I mean, reaching out. I mean, you could always focus on just making your business successful or trying to make money. But our firm's really, it's ingrained about helping people, and so that's why we're so active in the community.
So I know I keep saying William, but can I call you Bill?
Yeah, please call me
Bill. So now
Bill.
that we're down to the end, getting to the end of this episode, we've got kind of a studio audience here, and we got a special guest. My friend Patrick's here, and he's here with Indy. So Indy is his seeing eye dog, and Indy's a very, very special piece of Patrick's life. So when you decide like what you're going to give to and what things you're going to get behind, when it comes to animals, do you have a soft spot? Is it cats or dogs? I got to just ask.
We probably dogs. I would say dogs. Now we help get cats adopted. We've done a lot of that. We've actually through our social media over time, we've put up cats that needed to be adopted, and we've really worked to be able to help with that. But probably for me, it's mainly dogs that I in my own heart, but we help everyone. I used to have a cat. Our cat name was Muffin, and so it was a cute little cat, and loved that cat. But I would say dogs. I know you love cats.
I'm a cat guy.
So
but,
tell me about the
reason I brought
cats.
this up, and I love it that you said you like finding homes for kitty cats. So I got a special guest here. His name's Lazy Cash. Lazy Cash, can you come on over here? Lazy Cash was talking to me. He knew you were coming in.
Oh, hi, Lazy.
Cash was asking me if you would help other kitties like Lazy Cash find homes, because Lazy Cash was also a stray. We found him on the street. He was a mean little bugger when we got him. He drew a lot of blood for a lot of people. But Cash, did you have something you wanted to ask? Did you want to ask Bill something?
Yeah.
He's asking if you would donate some money to a shelter in his name.
Oh, I would love to.
You hear that, Cash? More kitties are going to find
Yeah, I would love to do that. And if you'll take a picture with me, I'll do that. If you won't take a picture with me, I don't know.
Cashy, pose, best pose, come on.
Okay.
As we all reach different levels of success, we all have to give back. And I think that's the ultimate. And that has been, honestly, the most joyous thing that I've done. The most gratifying thing I do is give. Mm-hmm. And, I didn't want to put you on the spot with Lazy Cash, but he was asking me up front.
I heard him.
Yeah, he's all about the cause. This has been amazing. Thank you for sharing so much. And thank you for kind of talking about behind the scenes and how you built this amazing firm. Now, most important thing, if people want to learn more about William Mattar and what your firm does, where would they go?
Well, the easiest way to find us is just go to williammattar.com, and we have a fantastic website. But just check us out on social media. Just search William Mattar, you'll find us. And we have some great viral videos. We have some educational videos. We have some cooking videos. We have some transition videos. There's a lot of fun stuff. They have me dancing on occasion. So we also do a great job with Twitter, X now, and we've had some great tweets there. Have gotten well over 1 million views in a very short period of time. A lot of viral videos out there that you could watch that are pretty fun. So check us out on social media. And the easiest way to get a hold of us, if you're hurt in a car, call William Mattar at 844-444-4444 or in your local area code.
Love that. So folks, if you're in an accident, you're hurt in a car, you know the jingle, you know the number, make sure you call William and his team before you call your spouse. With that being said, folks, thanks for joining us for this episode of Money School Podcast. Final thing, if you come to our offices and Cash is hiding and you just want to see the kitty, drop some change on the floor, because just like Muffin, Cash will run for money. With that being said, we'll see you on the next episode.